This is not, let's put the disclaimer out there. This is not a pound for pound list video, okay? I'm not giving a top 10 list. Alright, I'm just going to explain some things because I see some rumbling going on in my comments on a couple of my videos, and I wanted to make a response, alright? What inspired this video? Andre Ward, because Andre Ward has been one of the guys that most people debate. When it comes to pound for pound list, a lot of people debate whether or not Ward belongs to the list or where he's placed on the list, okay? And it's been happening a lot lately, and you know, I wanted to speak on it. Now, before I get started, I wanted to give you my opinion on what I think a pound for pound list is. First of all, it's completely opinionated, okay? Major boxing websites have them, okay? Let's take ESPN, for example. ESPN, they do it based on 10 of their journalists, their boxing experts, do a scoring system based on those 10 experts or whatever. And they base their list on that, okay? No matter what, it's still all opinionated. It's all an opinion. It's no official pound for pound list. Whatever site you go to is never going to be the same exact top 10. So there's no official list. Let's make that one thing clear, okay? So it's completely opinionated. Yeah, they're gonna get more credibility than me doing a list because I'm just a guy on video doing a boxing fan that's doing his own list. I'm just one guy. Well, ESPN is a sports empire, major website, major network. You know what I'm saying? So they get credibility. A lot of people like to use their their list as the list. Okay, now moving on from that, I seen someone leave a comment in one of my recent videos about what they thought a pound for pound list mean. They thought that a pound for pound list means skill, okay, based on well-rounded, skillful fighters. I disagree with that. I think a pound for pound list is what have you done lately, okay, on your resume. Your resume, yes, but lately, okay, meaning it fluctuates no matter what happens. You know, one fight changes it all. You're not going to stay in the same spot if you lose a fight. That's just the way it is on pound for pound. In my opinion, it has nothing to do with skill, okay? Because skill, you know, you think someone is skillful. Like, I think the number one skillful guy or talented guy in boxing is Floyd Mayweather. That's my opinion. I think the number 2 talented guy in boxing is Andre Ward. But that's not the same as pound for pound. Pound for pound is what you done lately. How you won a fight, who you beat, how did you win, okay? And how have you done in other recent fights, okay? There's not an exact timeline. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. You know, 2 years is kind of recent because some fighters fight more than others. But at least you've been being active, okay? Now that I got that out of the way, just give you a few examples of recent fighters that's been on a pound for pound list for the past few years. We've seen Floyd Mayweather is always on the list. We've seen Manny Pacquiao on the list. We've seen Tim Bradley, Marquez, Klitschko, Sergio Martinez. We've seen Nonito Donaire, Guillermo Rigondeaux. These are some of the names that we've seen on the list. Sometimes they've been there, sometimes they left the list, you know. Manny Pacquiao, a guy that's always been in the top 10, but, you know, some sites would put him at number 2 at some points, and then when he got knocked out, they put him at number 7 or 8. Marquez was up there on the list at points, but then recently he hasn't been fighting, so I wouldn't put him on the list right now. You know, Tim Bradley. You know, he beats Pacquiao, he beats Marquez. A lot of people put him in the top 5, top 3. And then, you know, then he had his last recent fights where he hasn't looked so impressive. So maybe he's not on top 10, or maybe somewhere in the end part of the top 10. Guillermo Rigondeaux, you know, a guy that beat Nonito Donaire. So it catapulted him at the top of the list. And then before that, Nonito Donaire was at the top of the list. But now he's not on the list because he's been losing. Rigondeaux might not be on the list because he hasn't been that active, or he hasn't looked, or he hasn't beaten, you know, or let me just say he hasn't been that active. If you haven't beaten any like major credible fighters recently since Donaire. So it fluctuates all the time. All right, and then comes Andre Ward, right? Andre Ward, a guy that I think is extremely talented, but he hasn't been active. All right, and even before he wasn't active and he fought Edwin Rodriguez, he wasn't active before that because of the surgery. And then he fought Chad Dawson. A lot of people don't give that win that much credit because Chad Dawson was, you know, I think he had recently got knocked out by Dona Stevenson, and then he was drained when he fight Ward. You know, a lot of people don't give him credit for that win. A lot of people don't give him credit for the Edwin Rodriguez win because who was Edwin Rodriguez? Who has he faced? What has he really done? Okay. Plus, Ward has been very, very inactive since the Super 6 tournament where he cleaned out the division. All right. So, Andre Ward, you know, does he belong on the list after beating Paul Smith? I don't know. You know, I don't know because it's still all about what have you done lately. There are some fans that no matter what Andre Ward, no matter how long of a break he takes from boxing, they will always keep him at that number 2 spot. There are some fans that would never remove him from that number 2 because he's still undefeated. And until somebody beats him at 168, he will stay at that spot. And no one has done that. Froch could keep winning. And that's the thing. I made a video on this. I said, yo, Froch is the king at 168 because Andre Ward is not fighting. Froch is beating Lucian Boutte, undefeated. He beat George Groves twice, undefeated fighter. And, you know, even James DeGale at this point. Look at James DeGale and what he's done lately. He's coming off 3 big wins in a row. And now he's a champ. He beat Andre Durrell. He, you know, not clearly, but, I mean, it was, you know, it was a good fight. But he beat Andre Durrell where, you know, he dropped him twice. More impressive than Froch did. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Because Froch is the only guy that gave him a loss. A lot of people feel Durrell won that fight. So, you got guys like those 2 guys right there that's been more active than Ward recently. Got more impressive wins recently against at 168. I know Froch is retired now, so he's completely off the list. But I felt like Andre Ward should not be on the list if he's not fighting. If he's not fighting, he shouldn't be on the list. You know, you're going damn near 2 years. Now that he's back with Paul Smith, that's up to you how to determine. Is he back on the list now because he's active again? Or does he have to get a notable win to get back on the list? Okay? That's where you guys want to go with it. That's just not what the video is about. Now, the main thing I want to bring up, because I've been asked a few times about this in the comments, and Andre Ward, if you beat Andre Ward, where do you put him? All right. Now, I seen Sean Newton. He asked me. He's a subscriber. You know, he always comes. I'm sure a lot of you guys on YouTube know who he is because he's always in comments, mine and all the other channels. And he asked me if Golovkin were to beat Andre Ward today, right? Would you put him in the number 1 spot over Floyd? All right. So I seen him and Quentin Cassell. You know, shout out to Quentin. He has a channel, boxing channel. Him and Quentin Cassell was going back and forth about this topic. And Sean Newton feels that Golovkin beating Ward is more of a credible win than Floyd beating Manny Pacquiao because Manny Pacquiao is past his prime. All right. Now, this is my thing about that. We're talking about recent, right? We're talking recent here, right? My response to him was no. All right, and I'm gonna explain why. It wouldn't be no for him, and I think off the top, I say Floyd. No matter what Golovkin do, and if he beats Ward right now, I wouldn't put him over Floyd or Klitschko off the bat. You know, it could be more, but off the bat, those 2, I wouldn't put him over that. Even if he beat Ward, he could knock Ward out in the first round. I would not put him at the number 1 spot. Not like that. You know why? Because if we're talking recent fights, right? Let's say, all right, within the last 2 years. Within 2 years, Floyd Mayweather fought Marcos Maidana, Canelo Alvarez, right? And Manny Pacquiao, right? He fought those 3. Now, who's the weakest link out of those 3 opponents? I'm going to go with Marcos Maidana. Let's just go with him. All right, let's go with Marcos Maidana. Let's say he's the weakest link out of those 3. Marcos Maidana, who's who I think had about good 5 good wins in a row. You know, he beat an undefeated Adrian Broner, and not only did he beat him, he beat the living hell out of him. Okay, but let's say he's the weakest link. Now let's take that weakest link, who is Marcos Maidana, and compare him to the guys that Golovkin has faced. Willie Monroe Jr., who has a better resume, Maidana or Willie? Maidana, easily. Okay. Who else is out there? Daniel Gill, who has a better resume? Maidana, in my opinion. You know, I'll take Maidana. I'll take him over Matthew Macklin. These are all guys he fought in the last 2 years. I'll take him over Matthew Macklin. I'll take him over Aldama. You know, I take him over Curtis Stevens. We talking resumes. I'll take Maidana or all these guys Golovkin has fought in the last 2 years. We talking recent, like we talking recent. I'll take Maidana over everybody resume. I think the only one arguable on there is Rubio. You know, because Rubio got some big wins in there. So it's arguable. You could argue. You make the argument, but I still probably take Maidana over him. And this is not even Canelo or Pacquiao. Golovkin has yet to face, recent or ever in his career, any top 10 quality type fighters. He hasn't fought one fighter that belongs anywhere near anyone's pound for pound list. Martin Murray? No. Him too? No. He doesn't have a resume better than Marcos Maidana. He doesn't. And that's the thing. Like, when we talking pound for pound, you know, I gave you my thoughts on what a pound for pound list. Pound for pound list, you know, I gave some names out there. But all of those names are guys that were either the lineal champ or people felt like they were the best in the division. I don't even think you should be anywhere near a pound for pound list if people don't consider you the best in your division. Or some divisions, and that's another thing. Some divisions are stronger than others. There's weaker divisions than others. You know, I feel like the middleweight division is a weaker division because there's one guy that's, in my opinion, that's better than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in the welterweight division, you have Pacquiao, Floyd, Bradley, and Marquez on a lot of people's top 10 pound for pound lists. You know, and I say a lot of people, I mean credible websites, major websites, you know, or personal, you know, it could be barbershop talk, it could be YouTube channels, it could be whatever. You know, a lot of people would had, at that point, welterweight division is the strongest division. So you had 4 guys that a lot of people feel was a pound for pound of one division. You know, I'm sure at some point some people have put more than that. But, you know, and there's other divisions that there's nobody on a pound for pound list there. You know, I never seen any cruiserweights on a pound for pound list. Not saying division is completely weak, but I just never seen anybody put any cruiserweights on that list. So going back to what I was saying, Golovkin can't just beat Andre Ward and just be number 1. Because not only you removing Floyd, but you're removing a whole lot of other fighters that's been fighting better quality fighters than Golovkin. That does not have to do with skill. I'm not talking skill here. It's not about how good I think Golovkin is. I think Golovkin is very good. He's elite to me, but I'm talking about resumes here. He's active, but the quality of fights. If Floyd was a middleweight fighting those guys, people will be very upset. People are upset now that he's fighting Andre Berto. Andre Berto, resume-wise, is either better or comparable than everybody that Golovkin has faced. You know, they're in different divisions, but if we're talking pound for pound and quality, Andre Berto still, you know, at one point was the biggest prospect in the sport, and he became a champion, you know? So I wouldn't put Golovkin above Floyd at number 1 if he were to beat Andre Ward, okay? If Paul Smith had knocked out Andre Ward, would he even be on a pound for pound list? No, he wouldn't. Not off that one win. Golovkin will be on a pound for pound list. Yeah, he'd probably be in the top 5. Yeah, we'll put him on the top 5. No debating. But would Paul Smith even be off of one win? No, no matter what. I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. If Brandon Rios went to beat Floyd Mayweather, it's still debatable whether or not he should be on a pound for pound list, because somebody could lose a fight off one punch. That's boxing. So yes, it is recent. It's recent wins, but it's who you're fighting and who you're beating and how you're beating them. How impressive. Did you knock them out? Did you shut them out? Or did you Danny Garcia? Or are you constantly... Danny Garcia got an impressive resume. You look at BoxRec, you look at his resume, it looks pretty damn good. But when you watch the fights, he's barely winning these fights. They're all debatable. You know what I'm saying? They're all debatable. Last 3 fights, he fought Rod Salka. Peterson was debatable, and Herrera was a robbery, straight up robbery to me. So it really depends on how you're beating these guys, who you're facing, and how active you are, in my opinion. All right. So Andre Ward, as far as him being on the list, I want to see Andre Ward fight another big fighter at 168. You know, I want to see him fight DeGale. You know, what he did in Super 6, that was cool and everything. He beat Froch. Froch is retired. Froch is out of there now. You got James DeGale now. I want to see that, you know. I want to see Kovalev. I want to see Triple G, you know. And it would have to be DeGale. But DeGale is a problem. I want to see that fight. I want to see Ward do it. I want to see Ward fight somebody that people fear, like people feel that is a threat to him. You know, a lot of people want to see. Even the people that don't like Ward, they want to see that. All right, so that's how I feel on the whole pound for pound thing and Andre Ward and all that stuff, man. I think, you know, I don't even like to do pound for pound. I think I did one a long time ago. I don't even like doing them no more because they fluctuate. So it's so opinionated, and it's just like, man, it's just a headache, you know, because it's like, what's the point, you know, in doing it, you know? But anyway, you know, leave your comments, you know, and make sure you guys hit subscribe and stuff. And I want to hear what you guys think on this whole pound for pound thing. You know, it's cool, and it's always cool to talk about it, but it's like, I don't know, man. Some people make their own. It's all opinionated at the end. It's not factual. There's no fact to it. There's no official list. You know, so if you want to include Andre Ward, or you never took Andre Ward off the list, then that's your list. In my list, I had to take him off probably last year, probably before the year started. I had to take him off the list. He wasn't fighting, you know. I ain't put him back on yet. I want to see something else, man. I mean, I love Andre Ward, but I gotta see something. All right.